Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. I wanted to talk about high school credits, high school transcripts, things like that. If you're new here, my name is Davine and I am homeschooling 4 kids who are supposed to be going into 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So I have officially one high schooler this year. However, my daughter who is going into 8th grade, as I was looking at all her courses this year, I was just seeing that most of her courses are high school classes. The only one that maybe I could say isn't a high school class, but could also be a high school class is her English. Her writing program is for 7th through 9th graders, so can also be a high school level. And then the stuff that she does along with that is at a high school level. So as I was looking at all of her curriculum and seeing all the high school credits that she was going to be getting here in her 8th grade year, I just thought it was weird not to just say, okay, it's her 9th grade year. So I'm going to have a chat with her and see what she thinks about that. I think she'll be very excited about just moving on into 9th grade and skipping her 8th grade year. I've always considered last year sort of a 7th, 8th grade year, and then I was thinking this year would be more of an 8th/9th grade year. But when I was just seeing all the stuff she was doing at a high school level, I just think it's silly to hold her back. I think she'll be really excited, like I said, about getting into 9th grade. She is very ambitious. She has lots of plans. I know that as she becomes 15, 16, 17, she's going to know she's just going to be doing things with her life. And so I don't want to hold her back if she would like to graduate early. So I'm going to be going on my computer. I'm going to be showing you the plans that I made about a year and a half ago as far as what I'm going to be requiring in my homeschool for my children to graduate. And I'm going to be showing you sort of a new system that I'm setting up to kind of track their progress through the different things that we're doing. So essentially, I am looking at my 2 daughters, my 2 oldest daughters, and I am looking at them like they are both 9th grade students. So I'm going to show you what I decided back then, what I wanted them to do to graduate, and I'm going to show you how I keep track of that as far as their transcripts are going to go. I do talk about it a bit as I'm going through on the computer screen, but basically what I did for my state, I live in Washington State, there are really no exact requirements on what we do in high school. There are some subject requirements that we need to cover throughout their years of homeschool, but there's no exact things that we have to complete for high school graduation from homeschool. What I did was I looked at our high schools in the area, and I also looked at like the university near us, and I just sort of looked at what they would like to see. So as far as the public schools, whatever they're requiring is definitely going to be a minimum in my homeschool. My kids will have to meet those requirements in order to graduate from my homeschool. But then I also looked at the university standards. And even though I really don't see any of my kids going to a 4-year university at this point in time, that daughter I'm talking about who's supposed to be going into 8th grade, that is going into 9th grade, she definitely could go to a university if she wanted to, a 4-year university. So I'm going to be pushing her to try to get what we need for a university entry while being flexible and going with what she is passionate about here as she's going through high school. So that is what I based my homeschool requirements on. I'm also going to be pretty flexible, honestly, of though I do want like a certain number of English, science, social studies, those sorts of credits. I'm going to be flexible on the types of sciences, for example, maybe the types of social studies. Like there's so many options for social studies that they're going to study. Math, I'm going to have to be flexible with some of my kids on what I call math credits and stuff like that. I do have some struggling students and kids with autism, ADHD, things like that, along with the one student that excels in most things. Math is not her favorite, but she does excel in a lot of other areas. So she'll probably do more of a traditional math, and I'll see about my other kids as they go along. But some of my kids, I might have to be a little flexible on our math programs because they are not going to be necessarily ready for Algebra 1 when they hit ninth grade. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to just flip you around and show you my computer screen and talk you through sort of what I have here as far as thinking and planning for our upcoming high school
Starting ninth grade
years.
this year. So I'm going to go over sort of some plans that I've made in the past. I did this plan about a year and a half ago, and then I'm going to be reorganizing a little bit onto something that looks like this. Okay, so here are the high school requirements that I decided on a few years ago for my homeschool. This is based on the high schools in the area plus some. In our area, I think 3 maths are required. So I have 3 maths here, and then I want to do personal finance for sure. So I would like all my kids to do that. The high school requires 4 years of English, and I have that. The high school would require 3 years of social studies, and I really like social studies in my homeschool, so we are going to shoot for 4. The high school would require you to do 3 years of science. I think 2 of those are supposed to be labs. So we're going to shoot for that. And then I just have econ and physics, civics here because we might do more than 4 social studies. So this could really be in the elective section. I have 2 languages here, and then we would need a fine arts credit. Logic is something I'm adding myself, so I would like them to have a logic credit. And then they would need probably 1 year of health and PE for the public school, but I think it would be easy to do 2 credits of that. We always do Bible most years, so it'd be very easy to do a half credit of Bible each year and get a total of 4 or more. And then that would be all. Really, if we were in public school, 28 credits is what most schools would require. I'm just going to shoot for a few more. We are going to do electives. It's going to be easy to add electives just because my kids will have interests. So, this is sort of what I would like to see my kids do. I will adjust it based on each child, and I can be flexible with certain things as we go along. But this is sort of what we're aiming for at this point. Then I had my 2 girls. So, this is my older one, the one that's going into ninth grade. So, we never did get to pre algebra. She's still working on that. So I'm going to have to move this over a little bit. She'll be doing, honestly, I'm not sure. She might have to do 2 years of pre algebra for ninth and 10th grade. That's just where she's at. She's definitely not going to be doing a math thing in the future. So we'll see how that goes. Probably not going to get to algebra 2. I was hoping for that, but we can stick that there. And I'm going to move these over. Okay. And then I don't know how far we'll get. We'll just get as far as we get, and I'll just come up with the correct names as we go along. We'll be doing all her English 1, 2, 3, 4, because as soon as you are in ninth grade, you just start getting credits for that, regardless of the level you're at. We will do it at her level, which is challenging her as much as we can. For social studies, we are almost done world geography, and these are probably the ones that we're going to be doing. We're going to finish up geography this year. We started this year. We'll finish it up this year, and we'll start on ancient and medieval. And we'll just figure out these as we go along. Yeah, we can be flexible. We can come up with the names for what we mostly are studying those 4 years. She did do a general science this year. We did complete that. I may or may not count it for her high school credit. We are going to be doing astronomy and possibly earth science this year. And so these aren't really lab ones. So maybe when we do zoology, we could do a lab science and maybe do another science at some point with a lab. So we'll see about that as we get further on in the levels. Her electives are Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and possibly the history of science. We have been starting on Spanish this year, and so we'll just continue with what we're learning in Spanish, and so we'll just complete those as we go through, and then we will have 2 Bible credits for sure. And we'll be adding things like she's doing photography this year, so I'll add that in. And that is a half credit. And I don't know what else. So this was just kind of my planning page. Now I have my other daughter here who has completed pre-algebra in 8th grade, so she's going to be doing, no, she completed pre-algebra in 7th grade. So she is actually going to be moving these things down. And so far, this is sort of where we're at. We're doing Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. And like I said, I might be actually just moving her up to 9th grade because she has so many things that are going to be 9th grade. So I just actually will move that back the way it was. So this was technically her 7th grade year, but it's always been more of a 7th, 8th grade year. And so, yeah, we might be starting 9th grade for her. I'm going to have a chat with her and see how she feels about that. So that would mean that going into this current 8th grade year, which would be her 9th grade, then I will be starting to count her English credits. And we are going to move these over because we are just finishing world geography here in her, I guess, 9th grade year. She did her general science. It was kind of a technology and robotics science that I may or may not count for her credit. We don't have to. We are going to be doing chemistry in the kitchen, so that we'll have labs this coming 9th grade year. We might do a year and a half of this just because it's a really complete and full course, and I think she'll enjoy it. She's about halfway through Mandarin, her Mandarin 1, so I'm just going to stick that as completing that in her 9th grade year, and then we'll just move on to Mandarin 2. And she's always doing dance and art and things like that. So that is, yeah, she's doing all those things as well. So I saw someone else organize these in this way. And so I wanted to sort of make a chart like this as well, just so I could fill this out and just keep track of what we are doing. So this is sort of more of a guide. And then maybe instead of this, we'll start keeping track on this spreadsheet. So I have these two girls here on the bottom here, so 2 tabs open. And I'm going to quickly put how many credits we need and then how many credits they have gotten so far. So we have okay, so here's sort of what I have at this point. I added a notes column here. And so really I have 27 total credits needed. This is more than public school. Public school would be 24 credits, but I'm asking them to do 4 math, including personal finance. I'm going to add that here. 4 English, 4 social studies, 3 sciences, 2 that are labs, 2 language, meaning world languages, so either Spanish or Mandarin in this case, a health and a PE, so whatever that means, could be dance. I could combine these 2 lines, and I don't know what I would call it though. So PE is probably going to be dance for my girls. Fine arts, so that could be music appreciation, it could be art. We'll just leave that up to interpretation, to Bible, and for electives. So they could definitely do more than this, but this is sort of what I'll be shooting for. All right, so that's my first daughter here who's going into 9th grade. So she's going to be doing, I'm going to say math fundamentals right now, because she is not quite ready to start pre-algebra. So that is going to be her 9th grade year. She will be doing English 1, whatever that means. So whatever we have for that. Social studies, she will be completing world geography and getting a really good start on ancient and medieval. But we'll just say that this is completed in this year. For science, she'll be doing astronomy and possibly earth science, and we will see what we'll call that in the end. And if she spends a whole year doing astronomy, I'm okay with giving her credit for that. I'm going to base it on number of hours and how deep we go into that. For language, she's going to start her Spanish 1. And health and PE, we are not going to do that this year. Well, she will probably be doing some dance. So there could be like a 4th credit or something. I don't want to give a whole lot for her dance. Fine arts, we're going to be doing photography, and that is a half credit. She's also going to be doing some art appreciation, and so I'm going to put that in here too, and that's a half credit. All right, so then we have Bible. She'll be doing half a credit of Bible. I'm not sure what we will call that. And we really don't have any extra electives at this point for that. So we'll just, I don't know, it doesn't have to line up exactly. So right now, the total number of credits she would have for this year, and we'll see about dance. We might be able to make that a little more. So I'm gonna just add those up. All right, so if we add all of these up, we will be at 6.75 credits. And that is actually exactly right. So that is the number of credits she will need to get the 27 credits. But with this daughter, I'm going to be a little more flexible. If we don't finish all of these, that'll be okay. If we can get to 24, I'll be happy with that. But we're just going to set this as a goal for now. So these are her current credits for this upcoming school year. Now I'm going to go over to my other daughter and do the same thing. I'm going to copy this section here and I'm going to put that in here. And this daughter will probably get more credits in the end just because of the way she is. So I have a possible science credit here. This is robotics and technology. And I may or may not count that credit. We'll see. So 1 question mark. We'll see if I want to count that as a credit in the end. I did not count her general science. And I'm probably going to, I'm not sure if I'll count that or not. In the end, same thing, but we'll just say she has 2 so far. So she has 2 so far for this, but we can change that if we come back and decide not to do that. Okay, so then as far as other language, she's very far in a lot of her things that she completed this year. So this is really more of a 7th, 8th grade year. But we're not completed them yet. So we'll start 9th grade year pretty strong. So we will be doing Algebra 1. We'll be doing English 1. We'll be finishing World Geography and really getting a good start on Medieval and Ancient. For science, she's going to be doing chemistry, and that will have a lab. And like I said, it possibly will take a year and a half for that, but we'll just play that by ear as we go. She will be finishing her Mandarin 1. She will be doing cheer and dance, so maybe she'll get a half credit for both of those together. We'll see. It just depends on how much time she puts into those. She has a art class that is a high school level as well, so she'll get an art credit, half art credit, and then she'll get an art appreciation too. So for a full art there. It's going to be really easy for her to get a lot of art. She'll get probably a half credit in Bible, and she will also be doing photography. And for my other daughter, I put that in the art section, but I'll put it here for her. Okay, so at that point, that means she will have 1. So we won't probably complete this completely. So not sure how to count that at this point. I might just put this over to her 10th grade year. So I'm just going to give her 1 so far. 1. All right, so if you add those up, we are at 7.5 credits for this year. And so this is assuming I don't add more things that she's going to be doing. What I'm planning on doing as well is keeping some notes down here. So as we complete stuff in our morning basket, like the art appreciation is going to be coming from high gas fee. So I'm just going to put that here. I'm just going to be keeping notes. So I'll just put that here, high gas fee. And that is, have I got a story for you? So we're doing the Renaissance period for that. And so that is 12 lessons, but I'm pretty sure we're going to probably take 24 lessons to complete. And each lesson is going to be, let's say, half an hour. So that would be a total of 12 hours. We're also going to be doing a lot of art in her. We are going to be starting ancient and medieval history. So we're going to be working on that. We probably won't complete it completely. But in ancient and medieval history, she will be doing a lot of art as well. So she's going to be keeping a book of centuries where she's going to be drawing like famous art or technology or things that throughout history. So I'm going to call that her Book of Centuries. And she's going to be doing that weekly. She's going to be keeping that. And I'm guessing that would be, so that's going to be 36 weeks. And she's going to spend at least half an hour each time on that. So that would be 18 hours there. So what I might do is start keeping track. We can put an art here, art appreciation. And anytime we have an art curriculum that spends a significant amount of time on something artistic, I can record it here. And as we add up the hours, once we get to enough hours for a half credit or a full credit, then I could include that on a transcript here. So we'll just be working on adding those things for her art appreciation. And then another possible credit that we could add for electives is literature. So I'm just going to add that here. And so she is going to be reading a lot of extra books. So she has her English one. We have those materials, but she's also going to be reading a ton of books with ancient and medieval history. She'll be reading a ton of books in there. She'll be reading a ton of books in chemistry. So I could be adding the books as well and just kind of estimating how much time she's spending on that. And we could give her a literature credit as well at some point. So I'm just going to start keeping track of things like this. I'm going to copy this over to my other daughter so I can start keeping track of high gas fee and anything else that we do. So her art appreciation might come later on, but maybe I'll just put this here because I'm not sure if we'll reach it. Maybe I'll just make this red. And I'll make that red for my daughter here so that I know we need to get a certain amount of time before we can give that credit. So that's there. Okay, so that is sort of a new way I'm going to be keeping track as we go along, just kind of keeping a record of how things are going. Down here, I can keep notes and any additional things that we're doing that may add up for credits. I hope that is interesting or helpful for you as you're looking into your kids' high school years. I guess I technically have two ninth graders coming up.
So
I
I hope that was
suppose.
helpful, getting a look on my computer and being able to take a peek into my brain as far as what I'm thinking about for high school. I hope it's not overly complicated. Let me know if you have any questions. I will share what I can. I am brand new to homeschooling high school, so I'm happy to share what I know, but just know that I am not experienced with this as well. But all I know is what I've researched so far and what I've decided is probably going to be best for my family. So thanks so much for coming today, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.